Hello, everybody. Welcome to the machine with Dave, One Eye, Doris, and our resident American, Stormy Bear. How are you both? Feel good?
Yes, doing really good. Well. Yeah,
really good. Yes, I had to get my. I'm sorry, I paused. I had to get the signal from the reptilian overlords of what I should say.
Yes, I checked as well. I checked for permission. We are going to be doing a video today, as Stormy says, on our reptilian overlords. All hail and our reptilian overlords. And because it's the Queen's Jubilee, and because we're respectful royalists, we're going to suggest that she is actually a lizard, and her entire family are lizards. She's a reptilian or an archon or a reptoid or a reptiloid or a lizard person or a saurian or a draconian, whatever the hell she is. So,
not a Sleestack. Not a Sleestack. Wow.
No. It's my queen you're talking about. What do you call her?
Okay, so the first thing, what the hell is a Jubilee?
It's 70 years, sir. It's 70 years.
Above and beyond the drink they serve in Kentucky.
Yeah.
It's a celebration of the installation of our monarchy every single year. On the throne, it's a reason to cheer. Yes.
70s was the Queen's Jubilee's queen. 70 years, mate. It's the longest reigning monarch.
Yes.
So because she's a lizard, she's going to live forever.
So Jubilee is like anniversary?
Yeah, it's an anniversary. If you'd been married 70 years, you'd have your Jubilee wedding anniversary, wouldn't you? I don't know if he's taking the piss at me here now.
Just keep an eye on him.
Right. Well, let's talk about this conspiracy that might be the stupidest conspiracy I've ever heard of, but we're going to talk about it anyway.
Okay.
A conspiracy that, Stormy, can you explain why in a survey a couple of years ago, 2 million Americans said they believe this conspiracy, that not only the Queen and the royal family, but very high, powerful people are in fact lizard people. Can you explain that one to us, Stormy?
Sure will. The reason there were 2 million Americans that took this poll that believed there were aliens is that because that was the number of Americans that could read the poll. It would have been far greater had we added in the people that were illiterate.
I'll take that one. Yeah, well, 2 million people in a country of 250 million is still
350 million.
Well, there you go. You people need to stop having children, Jesus. Right. But popularized in 1999 with David Icke's book, was The Biggest Secret. Obviously, this story had been around a long time before that, but this really became a massive then conspiracy theory, a very popular conspiracy theory, obviously, written by David Icke, son of God himself. He only said that for a bit. He changed his mind. We will do a video at some point about David Icke because he's such an interesting character. But yeah, lizard men became a part of our culture and part of our conspiracy theory, so we're going to talk about it. So who wants to jump in? And what the hell are the Draconians? Where do they come from? What the bloody hell are they? Dave has muted himself. He's so annoyed by this entire that we're talking about this shit.
The Draconians, and it's just one word for them. You know, there's so many hodgepodge. There's such a hodgepodge of groups and cults in ways of thinking of the reptilian issue. Is that one? There's lots of different theories and origin stories, and the second part is they have great disagreements between each other of what a reptilian is. One such is the Draconians. Okay, yes. So just right off the bat, you know, they believe that there's a race of aliens that are reptilian biologically, that are taking over the world, taking over the universe, I should say, and Earth being a subset of the Venn diagram called the universe.
Yeah, there's another one said that they're actually not from our galaxy or from our universe. They're from a parallel universe, and they were forced over here. And there's a big battle between the light and the dark, and they can be good or bad. 9 foot tall, shape shifting, quite unpleasant characters.
Yeah, we call that Star Wars.
Yeah, I like. Yeah, that they could make a movie out of that, man. That's got a ring to it.
Gorn.
They could
We're talking about the Gorn, man.
They could make loads and loads and loads of movies, and then hundreds of TV series that make no sense and jump from time frame all over the place and confuse us all. They could do that. Be interesting, right? So, I don't even know where to start with this because it's such nonsense. But so David Icke wrote this book, and he basically said, right, the Queen's a reptilian, Barack Obama, the entire Bush family. Oh god, the list goes on and on. Justin Bieber, obviously.
Oh yeah.
That just gives me another reason to punch Justin Bieber in the face, which I think is fine.
Not that you need one.
No, not at all. He gives us reasons every day. They drink our blood. If we really got into this, we could start. Let's tread on some eggshells, boys. No, let's not. We're not even pretending that this is serious.
Oh, we got just the eggshells.
No.
When just chew them.
No. Let's make some omelets, people.
Lizard eggshells.
Yeah.
Life finds a way.
Yeah, but have you guys read David Icke's book, the original story about this? Have you read bits of it?
I've got it.
I need toilet paper.
I've got it. That's all I'm willing to admit. I haven't. Well,
I read it. It's your favorite book.
I haven't been able to. I can't bring myself to read it.
I have read it, or most of it. Well, I read it a long time ago, anyway. And it's got a lot of evidence. I think it's fair to say there's a lot of stories, and a lot of say that this comes from ancient history. He makes a lot of links to the Bible and religion. One interesting link for me is that he calls the lizard people in the Bible that they're called the Nephilim.
Yeah.
And actually that these shapeshifters are demigods. And it was the reptilians, not the Anunnaki, which is another very popular conspiracy theory that basically gave birth to all of our religions. That's why a lot of our religions are so similar. We've seen like the Horus story of being born by a virgin, and is very, very similar to Jesus's origin story. If they made a Marvel-esque movie, that would be his origin story.
Obviously, because you haven't read this, what's his biological, physiological, and mechanical link between lizard men and the evolution of the religions being the same? I mean, what you know? I mean,
he doesn't create any like evidential links.
Oh, what am I thinking? Yeah, of course, I forgot we were talking about David Icke.
Where the hell do you think you are? Come on.
Totally losing the plot. I thought for 1 minute he was being reasonable.
He just says it's so it's so. That's all. But yeah. So, have you got into this? So I tried to do an opener. I tried to say, well, I'm going to do a rundown of how this story started. Do it. Like Stormy said, there's lots and lots of different versions to this story. Very quickly, I got into they come from out of the Draconian galaxy, out of star system. They came here. Yeah. They fought with our ancestors on Mars, destroyed Mars, and then came here. And the Draconians now live in the hollow moon, while the survivors from Mars became us. That's one version.
And the ones that live under the Antarctic as well. We got the snow lizards as well. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to get into the Aryan race at one point. We have to get into that at one point, which is a whole lot of racist. But you know, it was written 100 years ago, so I think it's acceptable. And we're going to get into a lot of sci-fi stuff later on as well, because a lot of this stuff seems to have been actually written initially as sci-fi, and then somebody's picked up a book and written it like it was fact. But there's so many different versions. In some of the versions, the Draconians were actually here first. They and some of them are intergalactic species. Some of them they're part of this intergalactic empire. And I started getting into the intergalactic empire business, and that's when my brain started going, "Oh bollocks!" And then it just goes on and on, guys. So, what do you think about the origin story? Do you think it's before we even start is a big problem with this conspiracy theory that it's very difficult to make sense of?
Well, you get the Nephilim, right? There's a lot of contention about the Nephilim. My cousin is deeply steeped in Nephilim mythology, and he has a whole different kind of idea about that has nothing to do with the reptilians. It's more conducive to the issue surrounding angelic beings in the Old Testament. And the Anunnaki, well, they're just and then there's other groups, the Anunnaki, well, they're a group of humanoids that first gave humans intelligent thought and partially engineered us, and they were not considered reptilian by most.
When are they thinking of finishing the job?
They haven't got to. I was going to make a mean American joke again then.
Oh, go right ahead.
No, I stopped myself. I was just when are they going to get to the Midwest?
Well, we all know the Midwest. We all know the reptilians do not eat wheat or corn.
So they're safe. Fair enough.
Yeah, that's why they're all in Florida petting iguanas. Don't you know? Haven't you read this?
I've read my Bible. I know what's in there. So yeah, I mean, that is an interesting thing about that, how they genetically engineered us, because that's one of the things, isn't it, what they believe with the reptilians, is that they've used their DNA to make us all a bit stupider, and that it's their fault that we all like Amazon and buying crap off Amazon and watching Netflix, and they subdue us with crappy entertainment, like YouTube channels, and and that's how they keep us all stupid. I mean, David Icke is a big believer in this, and this is all linked to the Illuminati and the one world government. What do you guys think? Are we being controlled? Well, that's a big question. Are we being controlled by a one world government anyway?
Yes.
No.
I think we are.
I think yes.
I think we are. And I think it's media. I don't think it's like actual people in power. I think it's a sort of like thought process that people have taken on board for some reason, rather than an actual group of people doing it, which is the paranoia that drives it.
Well, I don't think it's a one world. Well, it depends on how you define one world government. Is it banks and companies? I think we are all being manipulated by media advertising. That's the only purpose to advertise is to manipulate people into a specific action. In this case, buying a product or selling a service or believing in something. And I used to do advertising for like 20 years. And once upon a time, it's mostly golf stuff. And I think once upon a time, like every fourth or fifth commercial on the Golf Channel was one of mine. Hated it. I was good at advertising, but man, did I hate it. And the only thing advertising is manipulation. Elon Musk the other day, or maybe it was a couple weeks ago, he was talking about, manipulation of the algorithm for Twitter. And he showed, there's two different modes of Twitter. You can get just the people you follow, the latest tweets, or you can get what the algorithm picks out for you. And we don't know, Twitter does not open up the algorithm. It's not open source. No one knows what that algorithm is. So we cannot tell how it is purposely or unpurposely manipulating us to certain ideas. We just don't know. But I can guarantee you when you see a commercial, it's manipulating you.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
It exists.
And, corporate power. I mean, the communists didn't really have advertising. They just had nukes. And so advertising is, if money is power and power is government, then we, in that, as I see it, in that methodology, we are being manipulated by those in government or those in government that answer to corporations.
I think there's weight to the idea that big families the American thing. So America was like the grand experiment 300 years ago. Big wealthy families in the UK and Europe could never get control of the royal family, so they went to America and they built a country. And that's why the Rothschilds are considered on this list of draconian reptilian families that are supposed to be so powerful. Families that are so wealthy and so powerful that their names don't appear on like the Forbes list and things like this because they choose not to. Because if we knew how much money they'd have, we'd all go crazy. I've always kind of actually believed that. I don't believe this conspiracy theory from beginning to end. It's one of the stupider ones, other than like the adrenochrome conspiracy theory.
Yeah, that's a good one. That.
Oh yeah, for me, that's on the same level as flat Earth or hollow moon or these things. They just annoy me. And this one is the same thing. But the conspiracy idea that wealthy families from Europe went to America and funded things like the railroad and production of steel and built Washington. Look at Washington, the way that Washington DC is designed. There's mason markings all over the place. The road layout in one point is designed like a bloody sickle and things like this. The fact that is possible, and America is at the end of the day the most powerful nation on the planet. So if there is a body or an organization that controls that secretly from behind the works, you got the federal bank and all this sort of organization. Oh, I heard myself. God, I've got a sexy voice.
Sorry, that was me. Sorry.
Yeah, it wasn't you. It sounded like me. That was you. You're doing impressions of me now. It was good, man. You didn't move your lips.
He's like a scientific minor bird. He can impersonate anything when he puts his mic.
But all that I'm talking about, though, could they all be reptilians I'm talking about?
Well, you triggered me on the adrenochrome thing, man. I gotta respond. Okay, so adrenochrome. Anybody here? You two know exactly what adrenochrome is?
I know it's derived from adrenaline.
Yeah, it's oxidized adrenaline. That is all it is. Oxidized adrenaline, right? So I'm gonna post this in the YouTube link, a little link, or in the chat. Here's where you can go buy adrenaline for $23.25 for a half liter bottle of adrenaline. Now, only thing you have to do to make it adrenochrome is aerate it. Just put it in an aquarium with a little bubbler, and all of a sudden you get adrenochrome. So why in the world would you go to this crazy expense tracking down children, capturing them, housing them, feeding them, making sure they stay healthy, and then milking whatever the adrenochrome out when you can buy the shit for $25?
Yeah, I mean, on top of which, why would you go and kidnap anybody to do that when you can farm a product to do that? When you can farm human beings if you wanted to do that, let alone buy it. It's no, doesn't make any sense.
The whole Pizzagate conspiracy theory was stupid,
rubbish.
It was very easily dismissible. So,
there's no basement to the place. That was one issue.
Well, link it back to the reptilians again, though. A lot of the evidence for this was that apparently we see pictures of the Queen with a bad eye. They ignore the fact that she'd had laser surgery and she did have a really fucked up eye. But there was a photo of her with a really bloodshot eye. But see, bloody lizard. The morphing. They use vibration, don't they, to change what we see. So they vibrate their cells, and so this was the cloak was faked. It was there was a fault in the cloak, like a predator. We could see a real eye for a second. It wasn't. She'd had surgery. Or you see videos of them going, their eyes do that, very clearly faked. The evidence for the adrenochrome thing was a bunch of celebrities got that stupid app. When you take a picture of yourself and then it makes you look old, and they put photos of them side by side, and there's me goes, oh look, this is her really, and this is her on the adrenochrome. Goes, no, it's not. That is her on that fucking app that everybody's using, and this is her really. It's like it's not.
This crap just irritates me. Oh my god!
It just honestly, it makes you want to just knock your own head against a wall and just sort of like, will you please, people, think, for the love of God?
Oh, no. No. That, you see, that's when people become dangerous, is when they're allowed to think.
Yeah. That's what the reptilian overlords don't want us to do.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
So I found the let me give you some background on my experience with the reptilian space lords. Swear to God,
please do.
A friend of mine who since passed was doing a. He was a historian for the History Channel, and he was working on a script for UFO cults, right? Or just cults in general, and a little offshoot of it was the belief of UFOs and Bigfoot and all this other shit. So he found this woman in a trailer park in Florida that talked to reptilian space aliens with her Ouija board. Her and a friend of hers named Fred. I know, oh, dude, it gets crazier. And so she kept this transcripts of everything that was said, and these sessions went on for like 6-ish years. And so my buddy Vincent, I don't want to say infiltrated the group. He befriended Laura, the woman that headed all this stuff. And she had this long running end of the world kind of conversation through a Ouija board with these reptilian space lords. And on July, I just want to read you a part, right? And this is going to spin this shit off in directions you're not thinking about right now. Okay. Would you like me to continue? I mean, I could just
go for it, man, because it's more something.
If you want to go there, all right.
Do it.
So July 16th, 1990.
We're here to go to the crazy shit places, Stormy. Do it.
So, July 16th, 1994. Hello. Do you have any messages for us? Answer. Keep going. Keep doing what comes naturally. In what respect? Study. They ask, what is your name? Merkpior. Are you from another planet? Alien from your perspective, yes. What is your group called? Corsa. Where do you come from? Cassiopeia. Now, this group is called the Cassiopeians because everybody that turned up on her Ouija board was from the constellation of Cassiopeia. Yeah. Where is that? Near Orion. I've heard that the Orions are the bad guys. Are the Orion group bad? And they ask again, do you serve the self or others? The alien said, I serve both. Well, what is your philosophy? One. What are you? Huh? One. Now, the alien's philosophy was just one. One word as just O-N-E-1. What are you here for tonight? Prophecy. What prophecies? Tornadoes in Florida. Several. Also Texas and Alabama. Now, why would the reptilian space lords from Orion or Cassiopeia care about tornadoes, which is a common occurrence in all those states? Just anyway.
Prophecy. I prophesied tornadoes in May in the area you call the tornado belt
with a high of 42, partly sunny. When is this going to happen? When the sun is in Libra. What planet are you from? Corsica. When was this going to happen? Seattle will be buried. Japan buckles. Missouri shakes. California crumbles. In Arizona burns. When is all this going to happen? Denver airport scandal is the answer. What about a Denver airport scandal? New airport. Big.
Yeah,
big scandal.
It's a very large airport.
Yeah.
What kind of government? Or what kind of scandal? It's a government conspiracy. So I'm going to read down. They go on about the thing and said, how are they doing this? Compelled, don't trust, don't ignore, U.S. and sinister plot. Who is in the plot? The consortium. Who are the members of the consortium? All. All who?
All.
Government and other. Who is the other? Unknown. Why can't
Very convenient. It's very convenient. Who were the rest? I don't know. I don't know.
Who's involved? Every bugger.
Who is the other? Unknown. Why can't you tell us who the other is? You know who. Bob Lazar referred to the fact that aliens supposedly refer to humans as containers. What does this mean? Bob Lazar is storage for later use.
Oh, I see. Okay.
To be continued.
Because,
yeah.
It's what all our containers, 94% will be used. Used for what? Consumption. You mean eating? Total consumption. And it goes on. But it's just poor Bob Lazar got dragged into all this, and he's going to be consumed by alien space stores if he hasn't been already.
Well, I think it's a bit
so anyway, this
might be the 6%. It's quite scrawny, so he might be too chewy.
It could be.
Yeah.
I'm quite chunky. Me and Dave are screwed because we'd be
okay. Yeah.
No, we're screwed, but they'll be fine. Barbecue us would be lovely.
That's what I mean. We'd be very, very tasty people.
Yeah.
It'll be okay.
I think so. We'll be high regard. We'll be like, ooh, course.
Can't be ignored that. It's recently, well, certainly within the last 10 years, that not only have people who build spirit boxes, if you like, or ghost boxes, whatever you want to call them, communication devices, have now started to market them that they can also be used to speak to extraterrestrials too. But you've got to be careful because it's only going to be the evil ones that come through. I'm just saying, so be careful, people. Stick to your Ouija boards. At least you know your 94 containers are ready to be eaten. The rest, we don't know.
Yeah. Why would they sell something saying that you're only going to be able to sell to the evil ones? Why would you want to do that?
Because it's riding on the crest of a completely ridiculous fad. I would say, it's because it's a complete and utter joke, and those people are pathetic. I would say.
Buzz is always on top of it, right?
Yeah, Buzz is
alien KFC.
The completely different story there. We'll talk about Tito another time.
Yeah, he's a good one. He is.
So anyway,
I think we've done a video on that. I think we talked about Tito when we did the time travel video. I'm sure we did.
I think an overall a bridging kind of thing of aliens or people from the future would be a good one, like Titor and Valiant Thor and people like that, maybe.
Yeah. It wasn't a Commodore 64 though, was it? It was an old HP computer that had some base coding he needed. But yeah. Anyway, go back to that. Right. So, all I talk about that. This seems to be a lot of the evidence. I'm going to go evidence for that. Evidence. I've like this comes from Ouija boards or psychic links. A lot of it where we talk about the galactic empire that we're supposedly members of, with the draconians supposed to be one of those species. The evidence comes from like psychic people doing things like CE5 and stuff like that. I don't think that should even be allowed to. You shouldn't be allowed to use the evidence word anywhere near a sentence that starts with "I thought about it and then I wrote stuff down." That she said that. What did she say at one point that they were from the planet Corsa? She wasn't just looking out of a window at her car. It was like, I've got a Vauxhall. They're from the planet Corsa.
Let's see, what is it?
It's just there doesn't seem to be any.
But don't discount these people's abilities to win converts. She went on to
that seems to be the thing.
She ended up she conned a lot of people out of a lot of money. She married this guy. He was a honest to God PhD in mathematics professor that used to be part of the Stasi, I think. And then they all moved to France in this castle.
Oh, well, there you go then.
And then they went on to, as I see it, ruin a lot of people's lives in this UFO cult called the Cassiopeians. And they had, and they had some fingers in the film of what was it called? 9/11 Truth, I think it was. You know, the
all right, yeah.
This is, I mean, they belief, and my buddy Vincent, always told me that belief is the most terrifying word in the English language, because if you believe something, you can use that belief to do terrible, terrible deeds.
Yeah. That's what faith is, isn't it? Faith is belief. And I prefer ideas. You can change an idea. You can have a different idea. It's quite difficult to change a belief.
I think that faith is more of a positive, biased hope towards a favourable outcome or event. Whereas belief can be out and out devout, maybe. I suppose they're very, very similar, but I think there is like a fine divide in this. There's subtle differences, I think, because you can have people have faith in certain things, and then, is it an outrageous belief in something that will drive extreme acts rather than a faith? I don't know. I know what you're saying. It does come across as being a little bit pedantic, but
no, what you mean, and there's two sides of the same coin. Maybe I would say that faith is believing in something without evidence to support it.
Well, it's all like that, isn't it?
And that can be a positive or a negative thing.
Going back to the psychics and all that, and this isn't going to win me any favors with any of my friends in the paranormal world, is you cannot use the terminology evidence in the same sentence as a psychic, unfortunately.
No,
so these people say, well, I projected myself into the body of such a thing, or I managed to speak with the power of my mind to say, well, okay, well, then prove it. Well, I can't. You've just got to take my word for it. You have to believe or have faith.
Mm-hmm. And going back to this draconian thing, that's what I come across again and again and again, is that the evidence, David Icke evidence, is based on 2 + 2 = 6 a lot of the time. It's like, there's these biblical things that are connected, and isn't this interesting? Yes, it is. It's fascinating. You look at things like the really popular Netflix documentary, the Zeitgeist documentary, and he's doing about between the links of all the ancient religions and how similarities were. That's really fascinating. But then he gets these links that are fascinating, and he goes, aliens, and the Queen is a lizard. And I'm like, whoa, you've missed a bit in between there. You had this interesting bit at the start, and then you've got this final bit at the end. You've missed a chunk there. And that seems to be, but it'll be some psychic or something else, Even this, I found this one woman, Helena Blavatsky, in 1888, wrote a load of, she wrote about the Dragon Man. She wrote about alien races and evolutionary things. And even she's talking about psychic evidence and stuff like this, but she considered herself to be a historian, and she considered the Dragon Men were this mighty civilization, the Lemurian continent. But then she starts, we get into some real racist stuff as soon as we started talking about the Aryan race and some of the things, her views on sort of like the African people and things like this were downright, cruel and racist and just evil. And this is the writings, people like this that believe that we are the Aryan race or we are superior to the subcontinent or the Asian continent. These are the people that David Icke based his works on.
Yeah.
This is the evidence he uses. And this is why we can take the piss out of this story. We can go how stupid it is all day. But there's a real serious problem in that 2 million people in America believe this story. What you're talking about, Stormy, about the Casapians, these are really serious people that you've warned us to say, look, if we talk about these people, they might actually cause us some grief. Me and Dave both joked about, well, if they come and knock on our doors, God love them. But these are serious people that really believe what they're talking about. And David Icke believes what he says. And that's why I think one of the reasons why he is actually dangerous, because he thinks this shit's true. And go into a lot of his other theories, 5G towers and things. People talk about these things, and people started tearing 5G towers down. They don't take their vaccine because they think because it's all part of a government plot. These things have real world implications, which we'd all be really worried about.
Yeah. I mean, it's And again, you know, these cults also have used the same marketing techniques that golf companies do, and cereal companies do, and furniture companies do, and they're becoming very marketing savvy, and they know how to craft messages and images and video to sway people that you would usually think wouldn't be susceptible to this kind of stuff, and convince them wholeheartedly that this is the truth. There's children in the bottom of this pizza parlor in Georgetown. We need to go rescue them. And there was a guy walked in there with an assault weapon, took everybody hostage, wanted to see the kids in the basement, and there was no basement. And then there's an article, you can read his an article about him and by him, or with a lot of his quotes of how he was swallowed by it. You know, and he went in with the best intentions to release children, and they weren't there. Now he's serving decades in jail. And it was never true. I mean, the whole QAnon thing that popped up here in America was part of that. No,
it won't die. It's the QAnon's still going, and now they just keep changing it.
Yeah,
into other things. Do you guys ever watch The Rookie with Nathan Fillion?
Yes.
No, I've never seen it.
It's really funny. The one guy in it is, there's this one character as a joke. He's just a complete pain in the arse. He's just the worst cop in the world. And he says he admits he was the reason he was Q. He just wrote a bunch of stuff on it was on a load of pain meds or something. And he woke up the next morning and he'd accidentally started the Q cult. And he just wrote a load of random stuff on the computer. But even though none of it came true, they just alter the parameters slightly and carry on. And people still believe it. David Icke talked about how COVID was here to kill us all, and it was the 5G towers, and there was going to be millions dead, millions upon millions dead. It didn't happen. He just changed the parameters and talked about something else instead.
Yeah, you seem to see a lot of that in people who make predictions, though, don't you? All these farseers, as it were.
I thought you were going to say another word then for a second. All these farseers.
Yeah.
Good word, I think. I thought you were going somewhere else. Go on, sir.
No, I was just going to say, you do get a lot of this. And from people in the past, it's down to interpretation or the communication or translation of predictive text, if you like. I don't know. That's a phone, isn't it? But like predictive text kind of thing, where they will say what's going to happen in the future. They'll make predictions. I mean, you've got Nostradamus and his quatrains and that kind of, and the modern day ones will just do exactly the same thing. I mean, as I remember it, 1999 was the year that the world was going to end. And if not just because all computers would explode and none of them could get past 1999 because of the way the calendar worked. And it's like, well, no, the Mayan calendar, or people's interpretation of the Mayan calendar, well, that's fallen short of people's predictions too, hasn't it? Because we're still around and we're still talking about these kind of things. So holding any store in that, it's obviously the kind of David Icke's going to do that all the time, and people like him will do that all the time. They would sidestep the fact that what they said was completely wrong.
Yeah, no, it seems to be the other way. They're just throwing much shit, and they seem to forget all the things that they say turned out to be nonsense. But one thing will turn out to be true, because one of the things he said with the COVID thing was that a lot of small businesses were going to go under, and it was another way of the New World Order, the Illuminati, the Reptilians, just to take over a bit more, to take a bit more of our freedoms. And he was right.
Well, I mean, that's more of an educated guess than a prediction, though, in many ways, isn't it? I mean, it's like there's a global, there's a global problem. Excuse me. Things are going to start happening that are going to change. Small businesses were disappearing all over. I can only speak for the UK, but well before then, when the larger companies were taking over and the high street shops were starting to close, that was happening many years ago. Yep. So, and internet shopping, that's just another nail in the coffin of the smaller businesses in many ways too. So for me, it's more of an educated guess than I can see the future, dudes, and it's green and scaly. You know what I mean? Exactly. I'm not sure I'm wearing that.
I wouldn't even say it's education. Like I say, it was just an extension of what was already happening. Amazon
absolutely
already stopping people. They weren't going to the high street.
Yeah.
It was just an extension of what the invention of sort of like the out of town mall for Stormy and shopping centres did to the high street 30 years ago. It's what the streaming services did to the video companies like Blockbusters, and it's just an extension of that. It's
I mean, it was here, the back in the late 70s, early 80s, the huge shopping malls of America, they came around and they gutted downtowns, High Street, as you call them. Mm-hmm. And then, now they are on the way out because of superstores like Walmart and Target and Best Buy, just big box stores. And they were getting hammered too by Amazon. Mm-hmm. Now, the way they're surviving is, they're copying Amazon. Now, you go to Walmart, you can buy almost anything. And even other people have their own stores or products on the Walmart platform or the Target platform. You can't get these things in stores, but you can get them through Walmart. And so now the big box stores are threatened because of the internet. And, in those, at least in my little hometown here in Southern California, those people that had made it and were still open here in this little town on our high street, COVID gutted the half of them.
Yeah, did ass as well.
No money, no one's going out. I mean,
I don't know if any of the pubs and stuff stayed open. I really don't. I don't know any of them did.
They lost a lot around here.
Yeah, and and if you look at automation on top of all of this, now let's say you can go to a Walmart here in the United States and they have like 13, 15 checkout aisles. There may be one person to manage one customer at a time, but if you go to the self-serve, you've got one employee that's managing the checkout needs of 20 people at these little self-serve kiosks. So, I mean, that's terrifying in terms of numbers of jobs lost. And that doesn't take any real predictor. I mean, that doesn't take anybody of brilliant MBA or reptilian intelligence. It's just technology has always been a problem. I remember there's like
the Industrial Revolution onwards. Right? The Industrial Revolution came on. We had factories. It got rid of all the little old ladies in the farms.
Yeah.
Machines came along that got rid of them, and then it's constantly changing. Sort of theorists who say that. The West, though, we've become so economically wealthy now that we've got to a point where we don't want to do the dirty jobs anymore. So we farm it off to other countries. And they're saying, they're always moaning about how we don't build anything. We don't build anything because we don't build anything because we don't want to. So we've gone into the service industry. We all work in nice clean offices because we can afford to. When we get other countries to do the dirty job for us, sort of thing. That's how economics has changed constantly, forever. It always has done and always will do. Every time somebody invents something else, the economy will change. Mm-hmm. Just got to hope we get to a point maybe where we'll all be able to work a bit less. That'd be nice. Whoever thought of working 5 days a week and have 2 days off needs kicking in the head repeatedly. It's the wrong way around. I want to work 2 days and have 5 days off. Thank you.
Well, it used to be 6 days, didn't it?
Yeah.
It used to be 6 days. 6 days, as far as the Bible was concerned. Man was created on the 6th day. On the 7th day was a day of rest, and man was created on the 6th day. The number of man was 6, and also it was on the 6th day that the serpent offered man the apple. That's 3 6s for you.
Yeah, but the number of the beast is 666 because it isn't. It's 616. There was a mistranslation in one of the variations, but in the Dead Sea Scrolls, the number of the beast is 616.
If you look into gematria, basically like Hebrew way of transforming numbers into words, and 666 has a multitude of different meanings as well, like enlightenment and to know the truth, to have knowledge, to have understanding, things like that. Certainly not, be very careful.
Satan.
Careful, children.
Well, so we're going completely off topic now in this way, but I mean, the whole idea of Satan and hell in the Bible is...
Actually, I was trying to throw a segue in with the serpent and the tree thing, actually, to try and bring us back to the God and the Bible thing. Yeah, that's what I was trying to do.
That's even better. Is that where the reptilians things come from then? Even though, because I mean, we can go back to, if you look at like sci-fi, H.P. Lovecraft, one of the great science fiction writers, Clark Smith, Robert E. Howard again, they were writing about serpent creatures 100 years ago. It appears in Doctor Who all the time. It appears over and over again. Is it just? Does it hark back to that man is afraid of snakes? We just are. Egyptian culture, snakes were evil spirits, I think. Or was that cats? I forget. But anyway, they weren't good. We've got the Bible and the serpent. We've got all this thing. Is this whole thing, this reptilian conspiracy, just a side effect of sort of that we don't like lizards? Is it that simple? Is it that stupid?
We sure do love us some Jurassic Park.
We do love us. I cannot wait for the new movie. It's a completely different segue. I'm on the
wrong here's another thing. You know how serpents are treated biblically.
Yeah.
Satan was a serpent.
Yeah.
So I wonder, if that is some sort of religious identification of the evil reptilians. And if you look at other primates, that there's three things that most primates are all scared of. One is lightning.
Yeah.
And another one is there's lightning. There is snakes and the dark. Primates in general fear those three things: the dark, lightning, and snakes. So I'm just wondering if there's something in our reptilian brain that has something to do with that.
I forgot about the reptilian brain bit of this plot as well, because that's another part of this draconian theory, isn't it? That they leached our DNA into us. We have a draconian brain. We have the lizard brain. We have a monkey brain and the lizard brain and the core, and then which is a real thing. I mean, evolutionary psychologists talk about the lizard brain and it's that we've got like 3 layers of brain over the things evolved over time. And then you've also got the idea that apparently at one point our embryo looks a bit like a lizard. But again, that's an evolution thing. Well, there's a thing about how you can at one stage a dolphin and an elephant, you cannot tell the embryos apart. They're almost identical because they've got a common ancestor at some point.
There's a meme going around in the United States, at least, concerning the whole abortion debate. And somebody posted, pictures of 2 fetuses, and one was an elephant and one was a dog, and I could not tell them apart.
Exactly. Yeah, you can't.
How dare going preaching about some sort of abortion thing? Oh, by the way, these are fetuses of one's a dog and one's an elephant, not a human. So go for yourself.
Dolphins have legs at one point when they're an embryo, and then their legs just drop off apparently. And also, they have a common ancestor, and they've got similar things.
Don't people have tails as an embryo?
Yeah.
I think we have tails as an embryo, don't we? Human beings.
I want a tail.
Prehensile one, so you can swing around.
Well, I think it'd be good for balance.
Well, they are.
The fatter I get as well, my weight is shifting forwards. A tail might just help me shift back a little bit, and then I could grab my
T-Rex, like a T-Rex kind of thing.
I could work, and then it's like I could get my tail, and it's like a kind of pop it up here.
Oh yes,
weird looking kind of pop. Let's go. Ooh, look, I can see through my kind of pop.
You see, what you need like a hand kind of appendage on the end of your tail, then.
Yeah, to grab things and to open my kind of pop and just give it to me.
Okay, this conversation has officially gone way off the rails.
Hey, it lasted a lot longer than we thought it would before we went live, though, to be fair, wasn't it?
I thought we'd come on and go, well, this one's bull.
Yeah. Holy shit. I've only got a hand at the end of my tail.
People in chat, our predictions for this stream was about 5 to 7 minutes at tops, and we've nearly done an hour, so we're doing okay.
And we thought most of that would be me just going, no.
Constantly shaking your head all the way through the stream. No.
We were putting bets on, me and Dave were putting bets on whether this is one that Stormy believes or not.
Yes.
We both won because you think it's as stupid as we do.
The Reptilian threw all the tea into the harbor. That was it.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Yeah.
Before we start on the mocking the Americans again.
Yeah.
Low blow.
That was below the tail, wasn't it? That was
blow.
All we did was charge you some tax.
Oh, you got some fork tongue, sir.
So we're gonna have to break it down though, because this is a conspiracy theory that millions of Americans, to be fair, believe. So Americans, I'm gonna go with that a lot. And is any chance that this is actually true?
No,
not even a bit, is there? I mean, it's like we should have got Damien on this one. This is one that 100% our old mate Damien, who used to come to these channels, probably does believe. But I don't think.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's
just stupid. In the same way that the Earth isn't flat and the Moon isn't hollow. I
mean, just because 2 million Americans out of, is it 350 million? I mean, what's that? Something like 0.17% or just above, something like that.
Yeah, true. That's yeah. So there you go.
1%.
Yeah. So about Stormy, do you think there's any chance at all this is true? That the Queen is a lizard?
I thought she was German.
German lizard, then.
Yeah, well, what's German for lizard? Hey Siri, what's German for lizard?
You know this, don't you?
She's thinking of no, I don't know.
German, lizard is Eidechse.
Eidechse. So is there any? This sounds wrong. Is there any chance that the Queen is an Eidechse?
No.
Eidechse. It sounds like I'm saying I'm dicking the Queen. I didn't dick her.
No.
Oh dear God, I'm so not getting my
knighthood.
Well, and when was the last time the Queen had a good deep dicking? That's what more Americans want to know.
Her husband's dead, man. Come on.
It doesn't matter. She's the Queen.
I'm a royalist, and she's 90 something. So nobody needs to think about that.
Are you saying old people can't kick it?
Yeah.
Kind of hoping they can.
And we're discounting the fact that maybe old reptilians can still do it.
They're supposedly supposed to live for a long, long time.
Look how old turtles or certain species of turtles.
100 years old, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. So this like vampires, right? This story, like it feels or it scares some people because it stimulates something deep, dark in the back of our heads, sort of thing that we're just naturally scared of. Is it as simple as that? This is why this is quite popular, and it's no more complicated than that.
Could be.
It's just scary. There are a lot of things to do with the way religion came about that is interesting, and I do genuinely believe that religion is a control mechanism. I've always believed that. Particularly, I was brought up kind of Catholic, and that is a control mechanism. There's it's like back in the day when they didn't really want to have a police force, so they used the fear of God to make everyone do the right thing, and God that could see everything. To me, this just comes across like there's lots of interesting things with religion, but then they just, like I said, David Icke and other people have gone 2 + 2 = 6 and gone New World Order, and it's just. And I believe the Illuminati could exist. I believe there could be some kind of Illuminati, like an ancient, government body. I believe that like directing things. I think that could be true. I just don't think they're 9 foot tall green lizards. It's just stupid. Mother Mary will be upset with you, Jay. Yeah, I made a couple of nuns cry. Sorry. Any final thoughts before we bid adieu?
Is there anything crazier than the Queen being a lizard?
To me, you really are going Hollow Earth and stuff. I don't think there's anything stupider.
I mean, all these theories at some point in time. So I've got on my Twitter a phrase that anything that's incompatible with mathematics is impossible. If you boil everything down to mathematics, if it does not jive, it's impossible. And so the theory that a lizard space lord can come and invade your body, consume it, and then act upon their own special agenda. There is so many steps of crazy you have to accept, from the alien space lord talking to you on a Ouija board down to you acting on behalf of said crazy alien space lord from the Ouija board. Fuck, man. I mean, it's you can't get loonier than that. I mean, how? What could you possibly add to it?
How many steps of crazy do you have to go down before you just go, this is enough crazy now? Thank you.
I mean, you get near saturation. I mean, it's just what in the aliens cook up the humans that don't want to be the organic portals and feed them back to you at every KFC in the world. Is that it?
Next week,
Did you come from a KFC? And what the hell is it about Kentucky? Is that some central locale of, I don't know, human eating goodness that the alien space lords have found? Is it the whiskey? I don't know. But you've got, I mean, there is so much you have to swallow to get to from, I mean, how do you even get past talking to space aliens on a Ouija board?
Yeah, that's the one for me. That's the hurdle for me before anything else. I can't even, my brain won't accept everything else because I can't get past that one little nugget of bullshit. Quite frankly, that
always use a Ouija board. They just sit there and think about it. They don't even bother with the Ouija board. I can't be bothered to buy a Ouija board. I'm just going to say
it's too much work.
Trans-dimensional, particular, almost like shape-shifting, far-reaching alien galactic warlords need to mess around it. Is there anybody there? No. Please, people, in the love of everything that's holy and even unholy, if you don't believe that. Please, I implore you. Jesus.
Yeah.
I actually was in the phone. I almost don't believe in CE5. Or at least I can believe the idea, and there's a lot of people that said that they can prove it, that they can do things to prove it. Don't get me wrong, Lord Numbnuts with the bodybuilding idiot whose name I've now forgotten. Please remind me.
Greer.
Stephen Greer.
Doctor, give me some money, Greer. Not him. But other people in CE5 generally do try to sort of like evidence it and try to, generally try to say, look, we're going to do this and we're going to have experiments and we're going to try to prove something. I'm like, great, give it a go, because there's other stuff in science that's weirder than that. So you look at quantum mechanics and there's some weird shit. So hey, give it a go, but don't tell me it's true until you can try it. But don't tell me it's.
The more I'm exposed to by people who believe, or the more I meet people who believe, the less I believe. The more I see, the less I believe in all of this. It's unbelievable, because this is a good one. I mean, like you say, along with flat Earth and like an hollow moon full of like Smurfs or something like that riding around. Oh.
Smurfs.
I'm more, I have more allegiance to the Smurf idea, the Smurf ideology than I do the Reptilian idea.
Oh yeah, Smurfette is one girl.
There are all evil Smurfs. Yeah,
definitely. Because we all wanted to do Smurfette last year.
Oh yeah.
No, you can't get down to there's the simple fact that governments want to control people. I think everybody would agree.
Oh
with
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, absolutely.
Social construction has been such a well-funded area of research. You know, it's just like how do we make a calm, polite society? That's basically what psychology boils down to in a lot of ways. They do want to, and if there was a body that could quietly manipulate the world, they totally would. I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
I just have a problem with them being like lizards. Flies and things. It's just
what would Smurfette be like if we put a reptilian tail on her?
It give you something to hold on.
I think Smurfette with a tail might be interesting. I might do. Or if you've watched enough manga, maybe a tentacle. Don't know.
Oh, dude, that's sorry. Sorry, I've just got a mental image of me holding onto Smith. No.
Just saying.
Oh,
you got to think it through.
I'm going to draw a diagram of what that would look like.
Do it.
With the hand be on the end of the tentacle.
Yeah. She's just slapping me and going, get off. This one's okay. So we're going to put this down to a stupid one.
Okay.
Go on then, if you insist.
Yeah. And then somebody's messaged me saying that one of my videos is corrupt. Oh no!
And we didn't even get into the issue of reptilian circumcision. That was going to be my favorite part.
Well, that's long overdue.
Go on then. We got 2 minutes.
We got 2 minutes. So there's a train of thought that circumcision was given to man to better mimic reptilian species. So if you've ever seen like snakes mating or something like that, you notice that there's really no foreskin on a snake. And so maybe that's the way that, because it's preferential to the reptilians, that's probably why most American males, not even Jewish, just most American males are circumcised here in America. It's part of the reptilian takeover. And that's how certain reptiles know if it's safe to mate or not, if you're missing your foreskin.
Well, even snakes shed the skin, you know. So
see, and how useless would foreskin be if you're shedding it all the time? I mean, is that a leave behind? Is that something you leave on the bedside table, along with a fiver?
Some people do save the snake skins. How many people save the foreskins? Yeah, that's a very valid question.
Oh my dear God in heaven.
I think we need a whole show just on that.
Yep.
Maybe not.
I've got my foreskin. So that means I can't have this. This is too much personal information, possibly, but I do.
That means you're probably going to be targeted for what would the Cassiopeians call it? Or get to be an organic portal. You're next. Yep. You're fresh.
You're a container. That's what you're going to be. A container.
You're a container. They're going to portal the crap out of me. Right. Dear God. Right. Next week, can we please talk about something less stupid?
Can't make any promises.
Let's
yes, we can. Sure, we can come up with something worse than this.
Something that I can Google and research and not have 50 different versions of the same story. That would be a start. That would be good. Let's do that. Right, guys, thank you so much for this absolute complete waste of time. But I've laughed and I've loved and I've learned about snake foreskins, which I didn't think I'd be talking about. And I'm now thinking that Smurfette with a tail would there'd be benefits to it.
Hot,
I'm genuinely thinking if my wife had a tail, it's fun.
I will say this though: "Ich glaube nicht, dass die Königin die Reptil ist."
Yes. 100%. Da.
I don't think the Queen is a reptile.
Is that?
Oh, she's German, so I'm
in the original German, right?
Yeah.
In German, what is the Queen is not a reptile? Just check
something similar to that.
The Queen is not a reptile. Die Königin ist kein Reptil.
Die Königin ist ein Reptil.
Die Königin ist
So everything in German sounds threatening. Who noticed that?
There you go.
Darling, Donka Snake.
Yeah. even when a German's saying, like, you know, saying goodnight, you know, it sounds slightly threatening. It sounds like good night, you know, or you may not wake up in the morning, sort of thing.
Well, it is this one.
French always sound
Vielen
like
Dank für die nette Kommunizieren.
Yes.
So, thanks very much for the nice conversation.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Jesus Christ, calm down.
The language of love, German.
It's not, is it? It's not the language of comedy either.
It's the language of those with a spitting fetish. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, that's the Welsh as well, though. That.
I live within like 12 miles of the Welsh. They're literally like, which way?
You love you some Welsh.
12 miles that way. Bloody Welsh. Anyway, good night,
how
guys.
do we, just since we're talking about your homeland, I mean, how do we get around the whole thing of, you know, St. Patrick's chasing all of the snakes off of Ireland? Were those reptilian space overlords that St. Patrick had a special line on?
No, he was drunk. He just saw a load of things. The one thing we know about St. Patrick is he was pissed out of his skull.
And that's also why the Irish
thing.
Everybody gets pissed.
We all get pissed.
And that's another reason why the Irish now don't have a royal family.
Yeah. They all got drunk and fell off the edge.
Mm.
The only reason in this country that St. Patrick, we even know what St. Patrick is because it gives us an excuse to drink a load of Guinness.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. That
we don't even.
We have that, but we just call it Cinco de Mayo.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah,
we just have any excuse to get hammered on a Tuesday. Yeah. It's always a Tuesday. It's like
it is
St. Patrick's Day. Hey,
on a Tuesday.
On a Tuesday. Good night, guys, and I will see you next week with hopefully something a little more sensible.
See you later, guys.
Y'all be good. Thank you.
Bye.
Be safe, and if you can't be safe, be careful and grab them by the tail. Bye.